Hey everybody, thank you for joining in tonight. Tonight we're going to take a look at a tank I got in from Modvapa. It's called their Panda V12 Tank. A couple things about it. It is a top fill tank. They said they've completely solved all leaking problems, which we can go over when we dive down low. It is made out of 304 stainless steel. It is a 4mm tank. It comes in this color black, and it also comes in a stainless steel. It is a 22mm size tank, and the overall is 72mm from the top of the drip tip down to the bottom. It does have juice flow control. Like I said, it does top fill. It's got a nice huge airflow control. It's got some things. It does come with an RBA deck, which we'll go over also. I'll throw a build onto it. We'll talk about that, and then we'll just go over a few things that it does come with, and some of the good points and some of the bad points, and then we'll come back up on top and tell you my final thoughts onto it. So go grab a vape and a drink and meet me down below. Alright, so here we are down below here, and this is the way it comes in here. Shows that it says Modvapa. It's just like the other boxes that all the rest of them come in here. On the back side here, it tells you it says Modvapa Panda V12 black. This does come in black and in silver, or stainless steel I should say. Let's open up the package. Let's see what comes in the contents here. You get an extra glass for the tank. Here's the tank. We'll go over that in a few. We'll insert. Here's your little user's manual. It comes in Chinese, and you got the American side on this side here, and it breaks down all the accessories. I mean, the way all the parts are, and how to take them all off and on here. One thing that does not show into here, and which we'll go over in a few moments, is that they sent the RBA deck with this also. There's no instructions on how to use it, but I will show you how to use it. They also sent a bunch of O-rings and a bunch of the couple of these orange seals, which we'll go over where they go. Red silicone. Many different options. They got a 0.6 V12, which the 0.6 version 12 is actually a dual coil that'll go from 30 to 100 watts. They also have a 1 ohm Clapton, which is actually good from 30 to 160 watts, they claim. Then they have a 1.2, which is just a normal coil, 30 to 120 watts. They also have a 0.5 Clapton, which is good from 30 to 80 watts. And then they also have your regular 0.5, which is just a single normal coil, 30 to 70 watts. And then they also have a 0.2, which if you had the older version of their other tanks, which we're going to take a look at also, these will also fit right into that, just the way they're supposed to. And I did take one out just to verify it, so that works as well also. And that's it. They did, like I said, did send a RBA deck. No screwdriver, but this might be because it's a sample, so they threw in other things. But let's break down the tank, and then we'll go over the RBA deck. So let's move a couple of these things out of the way here. Alright, on the drip tip itself here, it has adjustable airflow, but you can remove that and use a standard 510 drip tip onto that. You look at the top here, it tells you that it says it's a truly top filling tank, Panda V12. And then over here it says swing open. I think that's just a little mix up, because it's not, you're not swinging it open like a TFE4. You're actually unscrewing it to open it up, and when you unscrew it, it brings you to where your fill tanks are, in which you have the two sides, so you would just fill it up very nicely. And then on the bottom here you have your I believe this is an adjustable 510. Yes, it is an adjustable 510, which is very, very cool. On the bottom there it says designed by Modvapa, and then it has their China export and whatnot. You have the big Cylon holes on this side here and onto this side, and they got the nice little flat, so you got a nice spot to grab and turn your airflow, and you can only go one way or the other. It doesn't spin around, which is a good plus there. This has a unique juice flow control also, where you can shut off your juice onto it. When we fill this up, we'll go over and we'll fill it up, and we'll show you how the juice flow actually stops it from leaking altogether. So let's take this part apart. And there's your base here, and if you remember in the other ones used to stick into there. This is by design to be screwed in. They're still using the same technology as they did from the very first one. Like I said, the coils are interchangeable. Where the first ones had it had that little cap that would screw on, and then you stuck it up inside of the mod, and it would, like I said, it would end up getting stuck inside of the mod 90% of the time. I thought they had moved past that when they had come out with the next version, which they were still using those tanks, but on the minis they had a similar coil, but it had its own little shell that was already mounted onto it. Well, in my opinion, they've reverted back to using these old coils again for the sake of maybe using the coils. I'm not a big fan of this right here, other than it's nice to wick up fast, but this would just, all it does is you would screw this part into your base, and then you screw your airflow control on afterward. So let's take that apart here. Let's take this apart. Okay, and here's your tank here, and this, I don't know if you can, I'll try to pick this up here if it'll pick it up, but you see that orange dot there? That is part of your juice flow control. That when you see it in that orange spot, that is going to show you that it's in the closed position, and now you can see that it's wide open all the way through. So that's how the juice flow control works onto this. And you can take this whole tank completely apart. Which you'll need to when you go to use the RBA section. But as you can see here, so you can replace your glass that comes out. Make sure you got your nice little gasket up into there. So you got the replacement glass that they send with it. And then this would screw onto there, and then you screw your coil in, and so on and so forth. So we will we'll go over that in a minute, but before I close up this and load up the coil, I'm going to show you how the RBA section works onto this here. So let's move all this to the side here for a few moments. And this is their RBA section that they had sent with it. To me, in my opinion, it's kind of a miss, in my opinion. They sent over the build deck, which is rather kind of small. That's your base there for your airflow. So you would mount your coils onto there. They did send one coil, which looks like it's a 28 gauge 4 wrap. We'll find out what the ohms are once we mount it onto this deck here. And once we do that, and then we'll wick it up and we'll try it out. But for this to work onto that tank, this actually slides up. See these holes here and here? They got to line up with this hole and this hole. So you got to line that up. And now you see the hole is lined up there. So this would actually now, this part screws, your airflow screws on to here. Okay, well, it's not going to reach. Here's kind of a fail in my opinion. So for this to work, after you build your deck, onto here. You got to slide it up in, and like I said, line up these holes with these holes. But to make this work, remove it from here and mount it onto here for this to work. For this part to screw on, you have to remove it from here. It just doesn't unscrew. You have to take a regular screwdriver and place it down into the center of this, and it'll catch a groove. And once you unscrew that, it won't come out. Just so that's got to slide on to there. You got to tighten this up. And now that's tightened up onto there. Then when you build your deck, like I said, you got to find where those holes are that are open, this one and this one. So you got to find the opening here, and you just slide it in to where the hole, so you can let it breathe all the way through. And once you do that, then you can put your top back on and your bottom airflow. And then you can fill up your tank, and now you got your RBA section on there, and you're ready to go. So let's take this back apart, and then we're going to put some juice into it. And actually, I'm going to put a build onto it first. We'll look at the build, see how easy it is, what it looks like when it's built, and then we'll vape on it with the build onto it, and then we'll take that out, and then we'll put the other coil back in. Alright, so stick around 1 second and we'll be right back. Here we got the coil on there, as you can see. And it's, like I said, it's one of those you gotta unscrew and just trap the wires in there. Let me get a piece of cotton into here and we'll wick this up. Can't show you to fire it because the way this is set up is it has to slide into this body after. Then it gets screwed together here with these two together. So you can't short fire it to check for everything, but as you can see how the lines right up with the hole there for your chimney that gets locked in. So let's throw a wick onto here, and we'll put some juice together onto this. Hold on 1 second. Slide this out. Kendo cotton, the best freaking cotton there is. You're not going to need a lot, so just give it a quick little roll. We can trim up the excess afterward. You want to be able to trim this enough to get it down into where this hole is here, so you can fill that hole up. You don't want to choke it off either. Fluff up your cotton before you stuff it in there. And I didn't bring any juice over, so let's just get the cotton down into there. Alright, let me go grab some juice. Some DIY strawberry and cream. Just let it absorb. And like I said, then you're going to take it and your holes are there. Find where your holes are here, and be like that there. And like I said, you can see your coil there. So then you would take your top and you're going to slide it over and make sure you got it, right there. You take your screwdriver. Like I said, to me, in my opinion, this is kind of a fail. It's a little extra work because, first of all, the RBA section is very tiny. And then having to swap out from this chimney to the other chimney, it's kind of redundant. So then you would put your bottom on. And let's just see what we got on here. This is their temperature control 70 watt box mod. That's coming up for review as well. And this comes out to a 3.35 on the ohms. And so let's put the rest of the tank together, and then we'll throw some juice into it, and then we'll see how it goes here. There. Make sure you have that down there tight, because if not, you'll just see what had happened there. It just popped off. There's a little groove on there for when it's onto the other base there. It's got it for the channel to be able to spin around for the juice flow control. Alright, so we're there. Now let's throw some juice into here. And then, like I said, when we go up to the top, we'll switch over and do the other, show you how the leak-proof tank actually works. Make sure you open up your sliders onto it there. Make sure you got your airflow open after you fill up your tank. No leaking. Very, very good. Alright, now I'm going to take this apart here, and I'm going to show you how to replace this back into here again, and how we're how the tank, how the juice flow and how the leak-proof tank actually works. So hang on 1 minute, and I'm going to drain this juice out of here, and when we come back, we'll disassemble the tank, and we'll put the other coil in. So hold on 1 second. Alright, so now let's take this tank back apart, and let's get it ready for how you assemble for the coils now. So you would disassemble it again from the bottom. You would take out the coil for the RBA. Then you take out this section here. Like I said, you make sure this is, like I said, this is kind of a drawback because I drained all the juice out, and let's just say for whatever reason you needed to do that. You're going to have accessibility wherever you are to have paper towels around or whatever to clean up your mess. So that's kind of a drawback in itself there. So you got to take this back apart, unscrew it. Alright, so now we got it all apart here again. Now we got to slide it back onto here, and again make sure you line up your holes to where they got to go. And then there's a little catch, if you can see that right there, that it has to go in to the body, and there's a spot that it has to, so it can only turn so far for your juice flow. So now that's back together. Got to tighten it back all together again. Like I said, this is definitely a con in my opinion. And now we want to juice up this coil. And you will take this and just turn this in and then screw this part in. Now you can screw your bottom back on. Now we can screw the tank back together. And there's your juice flow control. Open, closed, open, closed. So let's fill this up here and I'll show you how that juice flow control actually, how well that actually does work. So let's throw some juice into here now. Full tank. We're in the closed position. We're in the open position. We want to be in the closed position. I'll take this coil right out. And absolutely no leaking whatsoever. So that is a bonus there, that you'll be able to change out this type of coil without having to empty out the tank. But if you're changing over from the RBA section to this coil, you have to drain this whole tank, and it's kind of messy. So that's kind of a con in itself there. And so let's throw this, let me dry off my hands, and we'll throw this back onto a mod, and then we'll go upstairs and we'll talk about what I like and what I don't like about it. I mean, other than that, the tank works well. Not as well as I had hoped. So, but like I said, we'll talk about that when I bring it back up to the top here. And as you can see, you got the orange. Now it's open, and you'll see this bubble start going because it's going to absorb in the juice there. So let's take this back up on top, and while this is absorbing, and then we'll talk about it. Alright, so here we are back up on top. And again, the product we took a look at was the Panda V12 from Modvapa, their sub-tank. Let's talk about some of the things that I do like about it, and then we'll talk about some of the things I don't like about it. I do like that it's a 22 millimeter. I do like that you do get a lot of different coil choices. I'm not crazy over the coils, but I do like that they do offer a lot of different ones, especially the Clapton ones and everything. That's very cool. I do like the top flow. I mean, the top air, top fill. I like that part. I like the juice flow control, which is very handy when if you have to change that coil. I like the improved airflow onto the bottom of that too. That's very cool. Some of the things I don't like. Definitely not a fan of this drip tip here, and it's just like with a lot of them, they have the top airflow. It kills the flavor. It cools down the vape. I don't like a real hot vape, but I don't like a cold vape, and when this is on, it's cold. So I'm not crazy over that. The RBA section onto this, great concept, but having to go in there with that screwdriver and messing around with that and trying to take that chimney off and then swapping it over there, to me that's a downer on my, for me also. Just having to keep on swapping that back and forth, it can get messy. It can you're better off just to come up with a different chimney system altogether, or something that you can just, like a twist and lock that you can switch off and on. It would be a lot better, I believe, than what you have onto there now. That's just, and a different way of doing the atomizer, screwing that up into there. Like I said, when you go to build that onto there, you have no way to test your coil until after you have everything assembled. That's kind of a downer also in itself there. So those are some things that I see that are good and some of the things that are bad. Overall, would I go out and purchase this again? I probably wouldn't. No, I probably wouldn't. I couldn't, I mean, for what the coils that are in here and you running them, they're a nice solid coil. And it's a nice solid tank, 4 mils. But for performance wise, and if you want to build onto that deck, it's a real small deck. And like I said, it's just the way they have to do it. That's just a downer on my point altogether. So I probably wouldn't go out and get it. But overall, it's a decent tank, but it's just wouldn't be for me. I'll probably end up giving this to someone. So, all right, people. Again, the name of the company is Modvapa. Their link will be down below. Their Facebook and the contact information. I'll leave that down below also. Thank you again, Vicky, for sending this over. And don't forget, I do have the review coming up onto the box mod onto this. It's a temperature control 70 watt. We'll go over that coming up soon onto that. All right, people. That's going to do it for tonight. So until the next time. Keep vaping.